ladies and gentlemen, it is that time, y'all, where it is time to break down our season predictions for 2024 NC State football, baby. It is such a great time of the year. As of this recording, we're going to be, as of this recording is August 15th, which, Greg, that means we're going to be exactly 2 weeks away from the start of NC State football season as of this episode, man. It's crazy to think about, bud.
It's here, buddy. It's here.
It's here. So again, y'all, so if you've been a follower of Tuffy Talk before, how this is really going to work is this is going to be a 3-part series. In the first part, we're going to do the first 4 games of the season. Part 2 is the second 4 games. Part 3 is the last 4 games.
Should we do a part 4 for this college football championship and then like ACC title? I mean, should we do those 2 right now?
I mean, that's true. And then we could do the 2025, where we move to the SEC. Like, what's that schedule going to look like too? So, yeah, I agree, Greg. Why not just go ahead and hit 3 birds with 1 stone, right? So
there you go.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Yeah.
Well, and hey, I don't know, Greg. Maybe my prediction is having us going like 7-5. So I don't know. I mean, can I say count the eggs before they hatch? That's all I'm saying.
That is the worst. That is the worst spoiler ever.
I know, right? So anyway, y'all. So again, we'll start at the top, and start off with good old Western Carolina. And I actually remember, guys, looking back that the ESPN analytics gave Western Carolina, I think, like a 1.5% chance to win. And again, I mean, first game at home, this is really a game that we just need to dominate and move along for a couple reasons. One, I think send a message early to Tennessee. That, I mean, that we're not going to be no joke, but also too as well, just to keep the guys healthy as well. So, I don't think we really necessarily need to spend too much time on this, but I mean, anything on the Western Carolina game in terms of like, what are your expectations? Like, what's kind of your bar, Michael, in terms of for this game? Like, if this happens, I'm happy. If this doesn't happen, then I'm not happy.
Yeah, I think you said it. Everybody get out of the game healthy. I mean, right? There's not really a scenario where this game should be even close. I mean, if it is, then we may have some concerns, but I don't see that happening, especially at home. Last year we opened up on the road at UConn, and that one was probably a little closer than we all thought it would be. But I mean, we still won. I think it was 2 scores. It was never really in doubt, but it was still kind of close. Yep. But this game shouldn't even be that close with Western Carolina being a FCS team. But then there's always the question, are we going to go all out, or are we going to, hold some stuff back for Tennessee? I don't know. That's something that's always a discussion.
Yeah. Greg, I mean, as of this recording, at least I just was looking at DraftKings, they don't have a Vegas line for this game yet, for that game yet.
That's a pretty good indicator if there's no line, then it's pretty lopsided.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to give people the opportunity to add in that, money line parlay piece for NC State versus Western Carolina. But Greg, I mean, like, what are your thoughts in terms of, how much a Nye will show versus Western Carolina?
Well, let's just put it in this regard. The last time we played them was in 2019, arguably our last worst season we've had, and we beat them 41-0. So if you think about it in those terms, with what we had on that team versus what we have on this team, we might drop a Hun. We might drop a Benjamin. No, in all seriousness, I think you just get in, get some good work for your starters. Maybe get some young guys in, get them a little work. Maybe, you see CJ Bailey get in there and get some work just in case, God forbid, Grayson has, any kind of injury. Just give him a little game action. I mean, knock on wood, right? Let me find all the wood I can. But I think, you want to dominate on both sides of the ball. Don't show a lot for Tennessee and get out healthy. I think those are the 3 keys of what you're looking for. And maybe the 4th, get some young guys some action.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. So, again, I think we're all in kind of agreement there. Again, it should be a beautiful environment for sure. Thursday night game, 7 p.m. game. So the Cardinals is going to be rocking. State fans are going to be super excited. And that's the other thing, too, which is kind of a little bit of a spoiler for me as well. But it would really take a lot for me under Dave Doran to predict NC State to lose at home. in any season, period. I mean, just Orange just doesn't really lose at home recently. It's not his repertoire. So, for me to even like consider losing to Western Carolina at home on game one, no, ain't happening. So on to the next, y'all. So it's kind of funny. I think that honestly a lot of people, Greg and Michael, might watch part one and be like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah,
like because like during this part we're going to talk about,
this is the biggest part of our season, the first 4 games.
September.
No, that's by far the biggest. And so kind of jumping right into it, with Tennessee, and it's so funny to me, Greg, how we just have this interesting history with Tennessee in football, and it's not necessarily a good history for us, but just that, it just seems like Tennessee's always been that litmus test for us against out of conference Power 5 competition, playing against them in the Chick-fil-A kickoff back in 2012, which
Emerson.
is David Emerson getting toasted. So yeah, no, it was a rough one. And then also too, y'all, if anybody has the game recording of that as well, if you pay attention to Mike Glennon's black S on the side of his helmets, they're extremely sideways. So just a little tidbit there for y'all as well. Anyway, though, so I mean,
I was going to say, did you put them on? Was that your fault?
That was the year before I got there. It's wasn't my fault. But jumping into this, I mean, so really, it seems like it's this is going to be a up and down the field kind of game. I would not be surprised if this over unders in the mid 60s. Probably, I think it's going to be a lot of points. Yeah, mm-hmm. and even like I would say if it's 60 between 63 and 65, I'm like I'm not really leaning one way or the other. But if it's like in the 50s over, it's in the 70s. I don't know if NC defense is going to give up that many points. But I mean, I'm kind of seeing this as kind of really just. I think this is really kind of that opportunity for us to really make a statement that we can keep up with one of the juggernauts that a lot of people are looking at as being a juggernaut offense this year, which is in Tennessee. And so kind of seeing how we can hit shot for shot, but then just get our defense do just enough to hold them back and enough for us to win the game. So, I mean, Greg, would you say that this game is really going to come down to more the defensive side or the offensive side?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's I always think the defenses don't have the advantage early on in the season. I think the offenses typically have the advantage, just because they know what's coming. We won't have a lot of tape, especially with Nico. He's only played a couple of games. He played in the bowl game last year. What was that, against Clemson, or who Clemson was 2 years ago, wasn't it? I can't remember. Iowa last year. Yeah, that's right. They played down in Orlando, because they played in Orlando right after we did. Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot of tape on him. Tennessee's playing Chattanooga the week before, so they're pretty low competition coming off of their first week. I trust in God I trust with Tony Gibson. I mean, he's gonna dial up. I have no doubt. I think it's gonna be a really fun environment. What I'm ultimately hoping for in this game is just me coming out of Charlotte with a win. I am like 0 for 5 there. Honestly, that's all I want.
Yep.
That's all I want.
Well, two things is that, so I just double checked. So DraftKings right now has the spread at 4.5 for Tennessee right now. So 4.5 point favorite for Tennessee. So Michael, I'll ask your thoughts on that spread here in a second. But the other thing which I want to throw in there. So yeah, the quarterback, Nico Lamolieva.
That's why I said Nico.
Nico. So yeah, against Iowa, he threw for 151 yards and a touchdown, but he also ran for 3 touchdowns. And I know that that's one thing that Tony Gibson in his history has done a really good job of limiting is rushing quarterbacks, and kind of forcing them to be pocket passers. And I think that's what you got to do. You got to force this guy who doesn't have a lot of experience, but came out of high school, the number 2 overall prospect in the country. So again, a huge high school prospect, but still unproven, hasn't had really his opportunity yet. So, just limit it, keep everything in front of you, and force Nico to try and beat you over the top, and see what you can do. I mean, but Tennessee has a lot of weapons though too, as well. They have a really, really good receiving core. Their offensive line is going to be really good as well. So it's going to be a great challenge for sure. But again, how much can we limit Nico from the passing side, and can we get some pressure on him too? But so Michael, you kind of reacted pretty strongly about the spread. So are you surprised that it's not more for Tennessee's favor? Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah, a little bit. I was thinking of, I mean, it's still early. They're obviously right now they're just going off of kind of preseason sentiment more so than actual anything they've seen on the field, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like it would be like a 6 or 7 point spread. So, hey, man, if we can keep it within a touchdown with Tennessee, like that's encouraging. Yeah. To your question, I think
it's going to be a one. I think it's going to be a 1-score game. I don't think either team's going to run away with it.
Yeah.
No, exactly. So, but it's going to be an incredible atmosphere though too. It's going to it's going to be a lot of fans there.
Yeah. And I think the Wolfpack Club's almost sold out of their allotment. So there's going to be a lot of Tennessee fans there. So I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of state fans.
I think it's going to be 60,000 plus people. Yeah, I don't know what Bank of America holds, but I would guess between 60 and 65,000 people will be there, which will probably be one of the better showings that they've had for this opening game.
Yeah. Now the one other,
and I've
go ahead, Greg.
So has anyone seen that throwback jersey that's out there?
Per state
out this year?
I've seen it's been posted.
No, what is it?
It's just like
I'm curious to see if
plain red and white, big block letters.
It's like it's like from the early '80s. It has the old Tuffy head on the shoulder pads. And so I'm just curious. Like, do you pull something out like that for this game?
I don't think it'll be that game. I think that'll definitely be a home game.
You think a home game?
Well, just because
I don't know.
Because here's my thing, Greg. Is because again, Doran, he's a very
he's very
superstitious, and so God forbid that we were to lose in those uniforms, and then it just I don't know. I just see him. Like, listen, like if you're not fired up for Tennessee, like you shouldn't need jerseys, for that game. Like you should be fired up for that game. Like period. Yeah. Like you should be ready to go 100%. You don't need no fancy stuff. Just give me a helmet, give me a jersey, give me a pair of pants, and let's go whoop some butt. Like that should be the mentality of these guys. Now the one other thing which I want to add in is the fact that on the defensive side, Tennessee, their pass rush, their defensive line is going to be very, very strong. Probably one of the best defensive lines we're going to face all year. But in terms of
Clemson,
but in terms of the secondary, though, Tennessee is going to be having to replace all 5 of their starters on the secondary. So, so a lot of new faces there. So basically,
and I believe they lost their nickel to injury already in preseason.
Oh, yeah. So that just goes again that listen, punch them in the mouth early. Defense, just hold on, bend but don't break, and then offense, just make it far enough so that we can keep it at least a 2-score game for as long as you can. That's kind of really for me. So Michael, are you giving this a win or a loss, man?
Oh man, I think I gotta go. I think this one I've had pretty much marked as a loss. The whole just thinking about it, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be real tough. I mean, Nico doesn't scare me. It's pretty much everything else about Tennessee that scares me because he just needs to get to their receivers. And, you mentioned it, their line. I mean, their defensive end. I mean, he's like potentially a number 1 draft pick next year. His name, James Pierce Jr., I think. it's going to be tough. I have a hard time seeing us win it. If we win it, though, oh boy, like that just will set the tone for the rest of the season.
Well, and because I'll really ask this, because like on one side, I'm saying to myself, all right, which game would I rather win? Would I rather beat Tennessee, a neutral site, or rather win at Clemson? And I would rather win at Clemson. So part of me is like,
if you're making me choose, same.
So like, listen, like, as much as I want us to go undefeated, which I mean is it's not an insane possibility, but is that okay? Like in an ideal situation, I'd be okay with the situation where, listen, like, we lose by 3-4 points to Tennessee, like a really tough, hard fought game that we just couldn't quite get there. But then now you're ready to go kick some teeth in against Clemson and be like, nope, we're not letting that loss beat us. Nope, no chance. So, because my worry is that if you beat Tennessee, then dang, now the pressure is going to be, I think, a little bit more on us heading into Clemson, being like, well,
absolutely.
Now you're set up. Now you're set up to go and win at Clemson for the first time in over 12 years. So, can you get it done? So, so for me, kind of looking at it, kind of like you, Michael, I kind of have this one as a loss, a tough loss, but also too, part of me is because when I look at Clemson, honestly, versus Tennessee, I'm feeling a little bit better about Clemson than I am Tennessee, just because, again, with Tennessee, wide receivers are a lot more experienced. I think it's going to be a really tough challenge for our secondary to keep hold of them. With Nico and his dual threat capabilities, with a strong offensive line, I think it's going to be a lot of points scored, and I think it's going to be kind of a wake-up call for the defense to be like, all right, we don't need, like, we're not way off, but we need to be a little bit better going forward for the rest of the season. So I see this as a close loss, but I'm going to stick with that for now. So, Greg, what you got? Win or loss, brother?
We break it. We're going to do it this year. We're going to win in Charlotte. We're going to finally show people that we can compete on this level.
Let's go.
I think I'm tired of losing to SEC teams in Charlotte. So this is the year that we go, you know what? This ain't your dad's, this ain't your grandpa's NC State football team. So I'm going to give us a win. It's going to be hard fought. I have no doubt. I like our defense. I trust what Tony Gibson can do. I think these boys are going to be on a mission this year. I think we talked about it last night in the live stream. This could be Grayson McCall's launching pad for his season. Look, we talked. You guys just talked about all the Tennessee weapons. I mean, we have just as many offensive weapons. Again, I think this game is going to come down, and we haven't even talked really about special teams, but I feel like special teams is going to play a key part in one of these games. I think it's going to be a close game. I just think we have a ton of weapons. Whoever doesn't make the most mistakes will win this game. Whoever wins the turnover margin. And
there, I think we do have a little bit of an advantage with Grayson McCall over Nico. I mean, this is going to be – I know he played the bowl game last year, but that was, against a sleepy Iowa team in Orlando with basically no fans there. Like, this will be his first – it's not a road game, obviously, but it'll be a pressure environment.
I mean, we're going to have 25, 30,000 fans there.
Yeah.
Everything we've heard secondary has been really good so far early. So that's good. Good sign, because we know they're going to throw it all over the place. So
honestly, what worries me about Nico is his running ability. When plays break down, is he going to make a play with his legs? And we don't contain. We have to be disciplined in that regard. And I think if we're disciplined, maintain lane integrity and all those things, and don't get outside of your assignment, I think we're going to be fine. He could be great, to your guys' point, but he's only had a handful of starts. And
no, he's only had one. That bowl game was.
Is that the only one? I thought he maybe played. Okay, I thought he played in a game or two earlier in the season. All right, so
that's his only one.
Snaps, start. Yeah, that's fair. So look, Tony Gibson don't play. I'm just telling you, like, he will eat a quarterback's lunch. Prove me wrong. That's all I'm saying.
That's right. Nope, absolutely. So, all righty. So with that being said, let's move on to Louisiana Tech. Again, another game which hopefully we should only need a few minutes on. And especially since we got another banger.
I want to talk more about my tailgate for that game instead of the game itself, because that's going to be a sleepy game.
Oh, really?
Is that a noon one? Is that the noon game?
That is a new one. Yeah, it's a noon game.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so early morning tailgate, but that's okay. We'll be there.
Oh, yeah.
This is the
team
where we should be able to beat them. I mean, it should be pretty straightforward.
They've been decent in the past, but I don't think this is one of those years where they're supposed to be have any kind of real team to put together.
Yeah, so with Louisiana Tech, I mean, really, it's just a team of it's just an okay team all around. You know, there's just nothing really about this team that really screams out being like, well, they have a great passing game or they have a great pass rush or anything like that. Like looking at, I mean, they have a transfer to linebacker from North Texas. They have a running back transfer from Texas State who ran for 458 yards and 2 touchdowns during his time at Texas State. So, I mean, just this isn't a Louisiana Tech team that gave us, a definite nail biter.
A little bit of a scare,
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
So after that Clemson game, a little bit of letdown. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I mean, I don't know. Just and again, especially I kind of almost look at it as kind of like basically what we just went through, but just again, where basically you're playing a not so strong competition and then you have a really tough game, and then you're playing a not so strong competition and then you have a really tough game. So for me, it's kind of the same exact formula as you had for Western Carolina, which is go whoop some butt quickly, take care of business, and get the guys off the field and give CJ Bailey some action, give the young guys some action so that we can work on some more depth and keep everybody healthy and fresh. That's basically it for this game.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a team that's finished 3-9 the last couple of years, so it's not, they don't have a lot of pieces there. It sounds like here's the thing that you kind of were alluding to is we don't want that letdown from Tennessee or in either direction, whether it's a win or a loss. Again, that Clemson effect from a couple of years ago. Yep. I think this team is pretty old and mature to where they're not going to allow that to happen. So I would be shocked. The only thing that worries me is a noon kickoff, just being a sleepy crowd, but I think this team is mature enough and they'll rise above that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's see. Yeah, you mentioned they've been 3-9 the last couple of years. They only have one game before us. They have a bye week before they come to Raleigh.
A little extra time to prepare, but
they are running the 3-3-5 this year. So switching to that same defense we run. So it'll be the first year of a new system. Again, like Greg said, this should be a game we take care of.
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. So right now, Michael and I have stayed going 2-1, and Greg 3-0 through the first 3 games. So now let's walk down the street here and go to Death Valley and see if we can get this monkey off our back. So kind of because thinking back, I don't think we've won at Clemson since 2008, actually, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't 2010.
I've heard 2002.
Yeah, I think it's I think you're actually I think it's even earlier than that. Yeah. So I think Greg, you're looking that up right now. So
yeah, I am.
So while you look that up, I'm actually curious if there's a line out for this game. What date is this game? NC State. Oh, so here we go.
It's the 28th. 21st. 28th was the last matchup. Yeah, that was the last matchup. Sorry.
Clemson right now is a 7.5 point favorite.
Yeah. So that kind of makes sense, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, that Tennessee, since that's a neutral site, it's usually about a 3-point difference. So we're around the same between Clemson and Tennessee.
But here's my thing, guys. Here's my thing. So offensively, let's talk about Clemson. You lose Will Shipley. So right now, running back wise, you're going to focus on Phil Maffa. Their wide receivers, they lost their arguably best wide receiver to Notre Dame. What was his name again? Bo Collins. Bo Collins left for Notre Dame. And their leading wide receiver from last year was Tyler Brown, who caught 52 passes. And then they also have a tight end named Jake Brenningstool. Jake Brenningstool.
He'll be one of the best tight ends in the country, I think.
Yeah, he's gonna be Cade's number one target.
Yeah. And then they have two really highly touted freshman wide receivers coming in, TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco as well.
Yeah.
So for me, and I just don't think that offensive line wise that they're going to do enough to really overcome the struggles that they had on the offensive line last year. So really it's just going to come down to, is Cade Klubnik going to take that next step and be an elite quarterback that they have not had since Trevor Lawrence left? And again, I unfortunately just have not been a Cade Klubnik elite believer. I think he's a good quarterback, but the amount of mistakes he made last year, I mean, against us, just bad passes, bad plays. I mean, like, think about it. I mean, think about that Miami game in overtime where he kept the read option when it was a clear handoff, And again, I know it's a little thing, but just again, it's like that's a freshman mistake. That those are things like that need to be improved on if Clemson's going to be back in the hunt for an ACC championship and a college football playoff appearance. And I just don't think that, because I mean, looking at this offense, you have to have that elite. You have to have elite quarterback if it's going to work. Just simple as that, because you need a quarterback that's so good that it makes it almost easy for wide receivers to be good. Does that make sense? Right. Like basically, like you just put that's right here in stride, baby. Like, you're not asking your wide receivers to make any crazy plays. Like, that's what you're going to need if you're Clemson. I just don't know if Cade's going to be that. So that's where I'm at.
One thing to keep in mind, I brought in Garrett Riley, right, from the Riley family tree for offensive coordinator. So we'll be running some new offense. So maybe that brings some life into that. He was there last year. I thought he came in this year. My apologies. But okay, well then never mind then.
Sorry to destroy your point.
No. I know. Thanks for keeping me honest. I thought for some reason he came in this year. I think you just got to load up the box, let Cade, make him beat you. You want to stop the run with Phil Maffa. That defense, though, the defensive line is probably the best defensive line in the ACC. If not, it's probably either Florida State or Miami. I would say Florida State. But
keep in mind, too, I mean, they still lost a lot of weapons with Xavier Thomas, Tyler Davis, Rook Orujo, Justin Maskell as well. So, I mean, they lost a lot of guys. So, and honestly, I can make an argument with you, Greg, that their secondary is actually going to be stronger than their defensive line.
So they return a lot of their defensive backs.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
I think their defense will be kind of a classic Clemson defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I just don't. I can't trust Klubnik. I don't know. He doesn't scare me. He hasn't.
Yeah.
That game is a home game, and just to close the loop, home game for Clemson. To close the loop, we haven't won there since 2002. So 22 years. Here's my thing. I want that to be a day game. I think, just the environment feels differently when you're playing in a day game versus a night game. If both teams are undefeated, though, that's probably going to be a primetime game. Yeah.
Well, Clemson plays Georgia week 1, so highly unlikely Clemson will be defeated.
Well, and that's what we're talking about last year too, is that not only do they have to play Georgia, but then they also have to come right back home and play App State. Yeah. So I mean, it's
not the easiest start to the season for Clemson.
No, not at all. So can
you imagine them being 1-2?
Watch out. Yeah. And again, and that's my other thing too with it, is that I think that if you're NC State, the entire season, you're not looking ahead, but I think it really all comes down to this Clemson game. I think if you win against Clemson, no matter what happens versus Tennessee, you're in a phenomenal situation. You're in the driver's seat. You're feeling really strong about the rest of your season in terms of an opportunity to make it to an ACC championship game and just run with it. So I think if you're NC State, like you have this game circled being like no matter what, we just cannot lose this game. Period.
Yeah. I mean, think the top 7 teams that were picked in the preseason poll, Clemson's the only one we play. So this is your show again. And think about it. 2 of the first 4 weeks of the season,
barring any crazy shifts in the power rankings or the AP rankings, we're going to play 2 of the top 15 teams in the country. Mm-hmm. You're going to find out real fast. If you win those 2 games, you're in prime position to be potentially a top 10 team moving forward. Yeah, I mean, we say easily, but it depends on, obviously what other teams do around you. But yeah,
top 15
more than likely.
Sure.
Oh, top 15 for sure. Yeah. Potentially knocking on the door for top 10. And then you've played your hardest ACC game at that point. Again, not to say you can't stub your toes in other places, but you're really setting yourself up for success. And to you guys' point, Clemson's one of those top 3, top 4 teams. So now you're giving them a loss in the conference, and they still have some real important games after us.
Well, and not necessarily like we want it, but also, I mean, with the Clemson win, you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. But
it's a tiebreaker.
Right, a tiebreaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, even if you have one ACC loss, more than likely, I mean, unless some crazy stuff happens, you're going to be in a good position to make it at least to a championship game and give yourself a shot at a college football playoff appearance. So,
especially when you get down to these tiebreakers, right? Because there's going to be, I have a feeling there's going to be probably one team with 1 loss in the conference and probably 2 or 3 with 2 losses. And so now you're competing for those to figure out the pecking order.
Agreed. Yep. So that being said, y'all. So again, Michael, are you giving us a win or a loss, man?
I'm giving us a win. Yeah.
Okay, Greg.
Look, I'm riding 3-0. I'm riding 4-0.
I like it. I mean, it's honestly crazy that this is the best I've ever felt playing in Death Valley that I have in a long time. Yeah. I've not felt this good about playing in Death Valley in a long time. So excited for it. It's going to be a heck of a game. And hey, if it's a night game, bring it on. Let's go. Bring it on. I ain't scared.
I just don't want another college game day. I don't want that.
Oh, dude. Yeah, no kidding. But anyway, y'all. So again, we're here through part 1. So again, Greg's guys going 4-0. Michael and I guys going 3-1. So again, y'all make sure to stay here for part 2 where we break down Northern Illinois, Wake Forest, Syracuse, and Cal, y'all. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And if that subscribe button is lighting up for you right now, that means you are not subscribed. So make sure to smash that button right now. Hit that notification bell so that way you're notified whenever we release part 2 and part 3 and some awesome other content we're going to have coming out between now and the start of the season that you will not want to miss out on. And if you're excited about State football, do us a big favor, hit that like button and make sure to give us a follow. Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And lastly, if you're listening to us on wherever you get your podcasts, so Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever it may be, please do us a big favor as well and leave us a 5-star review. But we greatly appreciate it. We're excited to get this thing going. We'll see y'all for part 2. Go Pack.